Morning, good afternoon, and welcome to this webinar on the 2021 to 2025 PMNCH strategy. My name is Peter Colenso. I'm a consultant supporting the development of the strategy, working particularly with the strategy committee of the PMNCH board and also the secretariat of the PMNCH. This presentation and the webinar forms part of the consultation process for the strategy development, and we'll be explaining in the slides that follow how that process will pan out and what we want to discuss with you today. The presentation has three parts. Firstly, a background to PMNCH, our history. Secondly, a consideration of some of the recent reviews and particularly the external evaluation of PMNCH that's recently been conducted and provides an important backdrop to the strategy process. And thirdly, a draft outline for the strategy, which we want to share with you to get your views on whether or not we're going in the right direction. The objectives for the webinar are firstly to introduce the strategy, provide you with some of the context and the background, say what we propose as potential changes for the strategy relative to the current strategy and business plan, and secondly, provide a platform for you and some guiding questions to give us some input on the strategy. So a short history and overview of PMNCH. The PMNCH is about 15 years old. It was formed from the merger of three partnerships: the Safe Motherhood Initiative, Healthy Newborn Partnership, and the Child Survival Partnership. It was thought that to bring these together would add to greater efficiencies, less fragmentation, and a stronger voice for women and children's health. During the MDG period, PMNCH focused particularly on the MDGs relating to maternal, newborn, and child health, and then as we entered the SDG period, took on an expanded remit around women, children, adolescent health and well-being, fitting with the expansion of the MDG agenda to the SDG agenda. The ethos of PMNCH is to bring partners together for a coordinated voice and to build consensus among those partners to advocate and act better for women and children and adolescent health. This is the current vision, mission, and focus and functions of the partnership as outlined in the existing strategy covering the period 2016 to 2020, which has also been supported by two three-year business plans straddling that period. So firstly, the vision, the world in which every woman, child, and adolescent in every setting realizes their rights to physical, mental health, and well-being. And the mission, which is the functional contribution of the PMNCH to that vision, is to increase the engagement, alignment, and accountability of partners by creating a multi-stakeholder platform that will support the successful implementation of the global strategy for women, children, and adolescents' health, enabling partners to achieve more together than any individual partner could do alone. And you'll notice that that's a mission statement that incorporates also the global strategy and the link to the broader Every Woman, Every Child movement. And then the focus or functions. The PMNCH has for some time adopted four functions as its focus: alignment, analysis, accountability, and advocacy. So moving on, continuing on the structure of PMNCH and its governance. The PMNCH has currently just over 1,000 member organizations. These organizations are spread across 192 countries, and they're organized into 10 constituencies, which you'll see on this slide. And these constituencies form the basis of the governance of PMNCH, with each constituency having a seat on the board of PMNCH. In terms of our member profile, this slide shows how it's grown quite rapidly over the last 10 years. By far the largest membership group is the non-governmental organizations, followed by the academic research and teaching institutions. In terms of where our members are based, the majority in the Africa and Americas region, and then with some balance across the other regions of the world. So to cover the recent reviews and evaluation of PMNCH, which, as I said, provide important backdrop to the strategy moving forward. So PMNCH has been through a number of reviews and evaluations, and each one has represented a milestone in the development of PMNCH. The 2008 evaluation really focused the partnership on financing the reduction of maternal and child mortality. 2014 resulted in a broadening of the focus to embrace a broader SDG agenda, and with an included focus on adolescence as an area where greater progress was needed, and the partnership wanted to do more work. And then the 2020 evaluation, which is just reported in February, March of this year, which sets the scene for reimagining PMNCH going forward. And the three proposed focus areas listed here, MNCH, sexual reproductive health and rights, and adolescence, we'll expand on a bit more in the back end of this process that covers the draft outline for the strategy. It's important to share with you and process together the main findings of the recent external evaluation. This is an evaluation that's been overseen by a reference group reporting to the board. Firstly, a finding that the vision and mission still remains relevant, valid, and urgent. The fundamental purpose and direction that PMNCH head in is as important as ever. Secondly, PMNCH needs to rebalance somewhat. It's doing more than it's currently able to do with its resources, and as the evaluation said, doing too much with too little, a need to prioritize. Thirdly, the consultations conducted by the evaluators were clear that most people and most members within the PMNCH and external organizations see advocacy as the primary function of PMNCH. This is not to say that other functions are not relevant, but there was clear consensus that advocacy was the most important. Fourthly, a need to streamline the governance of PMNCH, a recognition that the governance is quite transaction heavy, and there are opportunities to streamline the way that that governance is set up and the way that it functions. And there is a parallel process of reviewing the governance of PMNCH ongoing and linked to the strategy development process. And also a need to strengthen how the partnership shares information and engages members. And finally, an opportunity to build on the assets and achievements of the partnership to develop a new strategy going forward, which is the process we're engaged in now. And the evaluation recommends that for that strategy, we need a clearer theory of change and results framework than we have in the current strategy and business plan. And we'll come to that towards the end of this presentation. The evaluation is one input, a very significant input into the strategy process. There are other inputs we've had as well. WHO has conducted an external audit of PMNCH recently. Findings from that are informing the strategy process. Secondly, we've had a strategy retreat in February of this year, chaired by our board chair, the Right Honourable Helen Clark, with 30 participants from all the constituencies. There was a strong message from that retreat to focus on equity, including within humanitarian and fragile contexts, and also strong direction from that strategy retreat and a high degree of consensus on thematic focus areas and on functions, and we'll come to those in the slides that follow. Fourthly, and this is where we are now in the strategy process, we've developed a draft outline strategy which is online and available for comment, and the main points of that are being shared with you today. And we're conducting over March and April a process of consultation within the partnership to get your views. Based on that feedback from that process, and fifthly, we will develop and share with you a first full draft of the strategy, which will go out for consultation through May to June, with the final strategy to follow in the summer or autumn in the second half of the year. So to cover the main points of the strategy outline that has been developed with the help of that strategy retreat and building on the findings of the evaluation. This is the outline of the document as we have it at the moment. So firstly, we want to say something about context. What is the global burden of disease? What are the institutions and partnerships set up to try and work on those issues? So what is the context within PMNCH needs to be situated? Secondly, within that context, what is the value proposition of PMNCH? What is it that this partnership can do that is distinct and additive that other parts of the international health architecture are not doing. Thirdly, the vision and mission. The vision, the real-world end state to which the partnership wants to contribute, and the mission, the distinct set of things that PMNCH will do to contribute to that vision. Fourthly, a theory of change, as recommended by the evaluation. What is the linkage between the various components, inputs, outputs, outcomes leading to impact? How does that work, and what are the assumptions within that theory of change? Fifthly, what are the objectives that PMNCH will pursue, including what priority focus areas will it prioritize? Sixthly, what are the outcomes that the partnership will deliver? 7, the functions it will pursue to deliver those outcomes and specific activities. So we should note that the activities will largely be defined within a process of annual work planning within this 5-year strategy. And 8, what is the how will we use our various inputs and what ways of working to deliver all of this? Section 8 is the least developed of the draft outline we've circulated for consultation, and that's deliberately so because we feel that that should be developed consequential upon decisions that are made around the top half of the strategy. And then the draft that we've sent out for consultation has a number of annexes, a theory of change, a proposed results framework, and a section on risk. So the vision and the mission. These are the draft vision and mission statements that we have them. We've tried to make them as crisp and simple as possible. The vision is a world in which every woman, child, and adolescent realizes their right to health and well-being, leaving no one behind. And the mission, that thing that PMNCH will do distinctly to contribute to that vision, is to mobilize partners and amplify the power of the partnership to advocate for women, children's, and adolescents' health and well-being, particularly the most vulnerable. The mission statement tries to position perhaps 4 important concepts. Firstly, partnership. Secondly, advocacy as the primary function. Thirdly, women, children, and adolescents' health is the outcome that we are aiming towards. And fourthly, with the statement, particularly the most vulnerable, to reflect the focus on equity. That has been a strong theme through particularly the strategy retreat earlier in the process. But these are the proposed vision and mission, and we would like your views on these. Next, the proposed objectives. We are proposing a shift from previously 6 priority focus areas, with the 6 priority focus areas of the global strategy in Every Woman, Every Child, to a more prioritized focus on 3 areas. Firstly, MNCH, with a particular focus on ending preventable maternal and child mortality, the unfinished business of the MDGs, if you like, and within that, a particular focus on equity. How can we as a partnership contribute to reducing inequities in health coverage and outcomes? Secondly, sexual and reproductive health and rights. There's a strong feeling that there is both a great need to work in this area, and secondly, a rising threat to work in this area. And this may be an area where the partnership could make a unique contribution. And thirdly, adolescence, continuing to prioritize adolescence, a theme that's emerged in the last few years. And we feel both on the basis of the global burden of health and well-being and also the institutions out there working on this, that this is an area that requires prioritization. So 3 objectives corresponding to 3 proposed focused areas. Next, in terms of functions, the draft outline that we circulated marks a shift from the 4 functions of the previous strategy and business plan period. Remember, those 4 functions were analysis, alignment, advocacy, and accountability, and positions advocacy as the core function of PMNCH. We put at the top here advocacy campaigns, to reflect in part a comment our board chair Helen made at the strategy retreat. The PMNCH should really be put on a campaign footing. With advocacy as a core function, we're proposing it's supported by 3 product lines. Firstly, work on knowledge generation and application. Secondly, partner capacity building and empowerment. And thirdly, support to political and popular champions. Next, a results framework. Something we're keen to get right and was also a focus as I said earlier, of the evaluation. So don't worry too much about the detail of what's in this slide, but we want to just explain in broad terms how we're proposing to construct the results framework from inputs up to impact at the top, including pointing out where we think PMNCH's accountability lies. So working from the bottom up, at the bottom we have inputs, principally money and people. These will be specified, how we will use these inputs specified in the annual work plan. That's really the responsibility of the Secretariat, and the attribution for that is to the Secretariat. Excuse me. Inputs feeding up to outputs, specific activities that will be done to be specified in the annual work plan, and we suggest in the full draft outline document what some of those activities might be, particularly in the first couple of years. That's the business of the partners and the Secretariat, particularly the partners through PMNCH's partner-centric model, to execute those activities. Those outputs in turn push up to a set of outcomes, which we've headlined in 3 areas. Firstly, policy, better policy and legislation for women, children's and adolescents' health. And within that, a focus on our 3 areas of MNCH, SRHR and adolescents. Secondly, more and better financing for women, children and adolescents' health. And thirdly, services, increased coverage of quality services. You'll see in the far right column where we specify PMNCH accountability, that here we think the accountability of the partnership is one of contribution. We can't be held responsible for the deliveries with full attribution of better policies, more and better financing and increased coverage of services. We can, however, make a contribution to those outcomes. And then those outcomes in turn leading up to the top to a set of impact measures, which should be principally derived from the Sustainable Development Goal targets and other indicators for women and children and adolescents' health. Again, the PMNCH accountability here is one of contribution. This is the framework that we propose to track from inputs up to impact at the top. The same logic is expressed that we saw in the results framework in the theory of change, and it's the theory of change that really anchors those different components which I've described in the previous slide and from which our results framework is derived. Again, I won't go through the full detail here, but to describe the logic of what we've put in the theory of change, on the far left we have the problem statement, the problems within women, children and adolescents' health and well-being that PMNCH wants to address, clustered in 3 priority areas. The next column is our objectives, what we'll pursue within MNCH, SRHR and adolescents. So the objectives PMNCH will pursue are 3 priority focus areas. And these will lead in turn to the right through a set of functions that we'll pursue. As outlined in the previous slide, advocacy supported by 3 main product lines, in turn leading to a set of outcomes in the next column relating to better policy, more and better financing, and increased coverage of quality services. And in turn, these outcomes contribute to a set of Sustainable Development Goal targets for women, children's and adolescents' health. So the purpose of this theory of change, currently in draft, of course, is to describe the journey from the problem statement to the impact that PMNCH will pursue, with the results framework pegged to the different stages of this theory of change. Final slide we have here is guiding questions that we'd like to focus this consultation on at this stage. So do please feel free to go beyond the questions that we've proposed here. We've proposed 4. Firstly, relating to the vision and mission. Do you agree with the focus on women, children and adolescents' health and on equity that we've tried to prioritize in the vision and mission? And indeed, we want your views more broadly on how we've expressed the vision and mission in this outline document. Secondly, PMNCH objectives. Do you agree with the shift from 6 EWEC priority focus areas to the 3 proposed in this outline document? Thirdly, PMNCH functions. Do you agree with the proposed shift from the 4 functions of the previous strategy and business plan period to 1 core function, advocacy? And fourthly, in the construction of the results framework, do you agree with the way the results framework is laid out, including how PMNCH accountabilities are described? For what levels of that framework should we be directly accountable, attribution, and then secondly, indirectly accountable, where we're contributing to those higher level outcomes and impact. So these are the 4 questions that we'd like to focus you on. But as I said, do feel free to go beyond these questions. Finally, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for engaging in this consultation exercise. The strength of the partnership is in the contributions of the partners. Our impact is only to the degree that you, the partners, contribute and deliver that impact. So the more you can contribute to the future of the PMNCH, the better it will be. Thank you very much.